Nice.
Good evening, everyone. It is Thursday night. The chat little thingy over there looks a little messed up, but hey, what's a show without some little glitch? It's Thursday night. Welcome to the NL Gaming Show. We have a great show lined up for you tonight with a fantastic guest, a friend, an old friend who has come back to see us, and I am so happy to have Mamacita back in the house with me.
Yay!
My boo is back.
All right.
How are you?
I'm good. I am back in the house.
You are.
And it's good to be back with NLG, WDFC, gaming, all that good stuff.
How have you been? How have you been?
Oh, man. You know what? I've been good. Overall, I've been good. I've been, just trying to de-stress myself with work and home life. You guys know how life is.
Oh,
and
yes.
sometimes everything that could happen happened. And those who have followed me within the past 2 years, you all know I lost my father in 2017. So that kind of put like a whole life just changed for me, and so I kind of had to pay more attention to family and my mom and siblings and things kind of just being closer and tighter, and trying to live my life without my dad was just difficult, guys, but I'm doing good. I am learning to just appreciate who he was to me, and that even though he's not physically here, spiritually, I know that his presence is still there, so that helps.
Oh my goodness! That kind of hits me in the feels, because I know what you mean. I don't know if you knew, but I lost my dad in October. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, to cancer, and I have worked really hard to help mom out, help my mother out, but also to try to live to his legacy and kind of be the man he wanted me to be and always thought I was. So that hits me. I did know that, and my course, you have my sympathies. I understand. So. I know you do. Just something
definitely.
else. One more thing to
feel the same.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, my father was a big influence in my life too. He passed away a few years ago, so
okay.
He will always be in my thoughts. I always think of him all the time. I miss talking to him on the phone. We used to talk to each other, for a couple hours, and it hurts, but you move on, you become stronger for it, and you carry him. You carry them along with you,
right?
And like you said, you have to take care of family.
Yep.
And you don't think so in the beginning. At the beginning, you don't think you can, and you're questioning everything, like why, how, and all of that. But then, with time, and people will tell me, Mamacita, with time, and they wouldn't say Mamacita because that's not my name, but
I know.
They would say, with time. Things would get better, and it has. So, I just, for those who are watching, I know there are others that can relate and understand these things, but it just teaches you to appreciate life, and I will always do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's what it's about, is carrying on the legacy. We all do it, and it's something that binds the three of us together. That we have that experience, and we are who our parents are. We have, for the most part, most people are, and you can always tell who the good people are, who had a great upbringing, because they're good people, so they were raised right. So anyway. I'm so glad to have you on tonight.
Yes.
I went back and looked.
Surprise.
I went back and looked, and it's been a couple of years. So.
It's been a couple of years?
It's been a couple of years.
Oh, wow.
Has it been that long?
We were still on Hangouts, I think. We were still doing Hangouts.
Oh, for being on NLG?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it's been a while.
See, I thought I had come on when you start doing your professional little thing here.
I didn't
Mike
say
has
it.
moved up in the world. Mike has leveled up.
I'm just trying
I
to
mean,
make. I'm just trying to make them look good.
Yeah, and it really does look good, Mike.
Thank
It
you.
really does. You have come a long way since our hangout chats.
Yes, but
Uh,
it's funny because what I wanted to talk about tonight, before we get into that, we'll find out what we're playing and all that. But what I really wanted to talk about tonight was, we were scrounging around for topics. And I'm thinking, there's something that you and I had always talked about, doing some back and forth and having the guys versus the girls and kind of stuff like that.
Yes, guys versus gals. I remember.
But we always wanted to talk about women in gaming and the influence and stuff. And now that influence is even greater today than it was even a couple of years ago. So it's a great night for that. And a perfect guest to have on to talk about it. And I know that I know you have some thoughts and stories and things and we're gonna get into that tonight. And I didn't want to forget Chris is here. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. It's been a long week.
Yes, it has.
I'm finally going to be able to be off this weekend, so I'll be able to get some gaming in tomorrow and perfect time and
Mazel tov.
Ready for some Gears 5 tech test.
Yes, the Gears 5 tech test. I have not downloaded it yet because I've been playing.
Downloading it right now.
But I'm gonna grab it. I'm definitely gonna grab it. Get to play some tomorrow night, and then Saturday night maybe, and then Sunday night for sure.
Yeah, hopefully we can jump in together tomorrow.
All right. Are you playing the tech test? Do you have Game Pass, Mamacita?
Yes, I have Game Pass. I have Ultimate.
All right.
Hey,
Nice.
look, you know Mamacita has Game Pass.
I know. I shouldn't have even
Like
asked.
I was gonna say, she's always brought common sense to gaming. So if she didn't have Game
Shouldn't even
Pass,
asked.
she's got common sense. She has Game Pass. Come on.
Did you? So are you a Gears player? I know you're a Halo player.
Well, I play Gears. I'm not a Gears fan. I've played Gears.
Okay.
I played Gears 1, 2, and I played Gears 4, and I liked it. But I'm not a Gears fan. I'm not here going to sit here and tell you. I did like it, but I did see it show up when I was, of course, I've been playing a lot of games in Games Pass over the past couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. So I did see that it was coming out, it was going to be available to play. I guess the tech test
for
the
this
multiplayer.
Weekend and next weekend.
Yeah,
both weekends.
Yeah.
So,
it's just multiplayer. Well, of course, it's only multiplayer.
I know because they ain't showing. They're not showing the single player till it comes out.
They're not going to do that.
Don't get me started. We'll be an hour just talking about that.
You will be all right.
So I get it.
So, so you were playing a lot of Game Pass stuff. That's cool.
Yeah, I have. I had kind of not been able to game a whole lot the past year the way I wanted to. But then when the summer hit and my schedule opened up a little bit, especially during the days. I don't know if you check my. Y'all check my feed. I have been hitting a lot of games, but I've been playing a lot of games on PC as well. Some of the Xbox Play Anywhere, and then the Game Pass for PC games. Because I can just sit here while I'm working, and then I can have the ability to work and play games sometimes. So I could try to take advantage of that when I can.
Cool. So what's been in the hopper? So what
I've been playing this little cute game. It's called Riverbond, guys. It's a top-down kind of shooter co-op. Yeah, local. It's not online co-op, but it's couch, and I like that. I actually enjoy it because I grab a couple of family members. I got come on, play with me. But it's pretty good. I mean, you have these mini bosses, and they level. You go different levels. Of course, each level gets a little more difficult. And then you have to find weapons and find chests and all that. And then you have your boss at the end of each level that you have to fight. And then he comes with different types of styles that he plays, and you got to figure out. I mean, it's not difficult, guys. You pick it up just like that, but it's still fun. They made it really fun. The visuals are great. The colors and just the sound and all that. If you just want a cute little pick up and play over the weekend, maybe with your kids or some fam, Riverbond.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did find another game in there. It was my son. I caught my son playing it upstairs on the Xbox. Cube 2. Looked like a little mini Portal kind of game, but with cubes and manipulating blocks and stuff.
Cube, so. Yeah, okay, Cube 2. Yes, I played the first one.
Okay.
Oh yes, that one can wreck your brain. That can get your cognitive skills spinning a little bit. You're like, okay, wait a minute, let me, and my logic, and hold on. Yeah, Cube is. Yeah, I remember that. Old Man's Journey too was another one on Games Pass. And mind you, these are pretty easy gamer scores. I didn't play them for gamer scores. Honestly, sometimes I do achievement hunt, but honestly, this time I wasn't. I was just looking for some games to play while I was working, and I found Old Man's Journey, and that's pretty. It's a puzzle style game. Kind of simple, but the story, it's the old man and his journey. Dealing with his wife and family, and that's all I pretty much say.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Is that sounds like PC only?
No, it's Xbox and
as well. Old Man's Journey. I like those games. I have to. I want to get through. So I got through. Once I got through Metro Exodus, then I had to hit the next big game in Game Pass, which is Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which I cannot believe I waited so long to play.
Are you just playing it now?
I'm just playing it now.
Oh my, come on.
I know. But I had to get through Metro Exodus first, which, in and of itself is a pretty big game. So, and I want to get to some of these small games too, because that's us poor people. That's how we play our games, is through Game Pass. Microsoft, man, I think Microsoft didn't realize how many people were getting free Game Pass for the next 4 years thanks to that dollar thing they were doing.
I know. It was like too good to be true. I couldn't believe it. Look, my Game Pass, this was in March of this year. My Game Pass was going to end in September of 2019. Well, my Games for Gold was paid up until 2022. Sometime, I think it was February. So when I went through the process of, changing, combining and going to Ultimate, and it came back that my Game Pass, my Ultimate is June of 2022. I said, say what? And then I'll be billed $1 on that day. I went, wait a minute. This got to be a glitch. There is no way they're going to give me Game Pass for another 3 years. I mean, it was supposed to end in September of this year. So I was like, wow. It's like, hey, couldn't beat that.
I know. Nope. I know. And so I think I'm good till 2021. It's the best. It really is the best value in gaming. I mean, I just don't know. I can't think of a better gaming value than Game Pass. Yeah. We say it all the time. I just find me one.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Did you get a chance to play anything this week, Chris? I haven't seen you online.
No, during the week, no. But I mean, last week I streamed a little bit of.
You did.
Stranger Things.
Yes.
Season 3 game.
Another top down.
Okay.
Yeah, like a little old school. Yeah. And if you watch the series, you kind of you understand the game. Mm-hmm. So it's fun. I think I made it to chapter 2, and then I've been playing Spider-Man. So.
Oh, okay.
Spider-Man.
Okay. Been enjoying that. So I finally got to the part where you come across Mary Jane. So.
Oh, cool.
Museum.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah.
It's another.
Yeah.
It's another game that I haven't played yet.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I forgot though. I've been hitting up my backlog because people, if anybody checked my feed, they were like, "Wait a minute, Mamacita, Riverbond, Old Man's Journey is not the only games you've been playing now, girl. You better give that tell the truth." So about a month ago, I just said I'm going to hit up my backlog. So I have been playing Batman Arkham Knight and Yeah, so I'm like, I don't know how I have not been playing this series, guys. I don't, which reminded me when you bringing up Spider-Man, because I played Spider-Man first,
Yeah.
and then I'm playing Batman. I'm like, oh my gosh, the mechanics. I mean, it's just so many similarities
Mm-hmm.
with Batman, and guys, Sunset Overdrive. Okay, I I've been playing it on Xbox, and I've been playing it on PC as well. It's like I can't get enough of that game. So I
Thank
need a
you.
Sunset Overdrive 2.
Thank
And
you.
anybody that says that that is not the best, or at least one of the best outside of Halo and Gears, I'm going to exclude that. Like new exclusives to Xbox. Oh my God. Sunset Overdrive is it's just phenomenal.
Thank
And
you.
I mean, and I'm 5 years out away from from the first time I played it, October of 2014, and that game is just superb.
It
Yeah.
holds up.
It holds up. That
It
game could
holds
have been
up.
released this year and
Yeah.
still compete graphically, mechanically with a lot of these other games.
Yeah, it was a beautiful game. I didn't
Visually,
finish it, but I have a feeling that after Spider-Man, I might have a better appreciation for Sunset Overdrive. Maybe, I don't know. So I like to check that out
yeah.
and see if you know. Yeah, I'm not real big on quick, time. Where you gotta, time your uh, buttons on certain things. So sometimes I get frustrated because I keep messing up, and then I'm like, oh, I got to go back and do it again. So, but I really enjoy the way they did it in Spider-Man. It doesn't make it feel like I have to put too much effort into it. So
Okay.
we'll see. I'll go back and check it out and see.
It is interesting too that you say that the mechanics are very similar. They are totally different developers, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Rocksteady was Batman and Insomniac was Spider-Man, and they're two different games but the same mechanics. That is
It's similar, and I didn't. I've seen people say that on in social media talking about the similarities with Batman and Spider-Man, but I really could not determine whether or not that was accurate because I had not played Batman. But since I've been playing it, I'm like, just your timing and the way when you engage with with enemy, just the timing, the way you counter, and of course when you get new abilities and then how you use them, that's kind of where I see similarities.
Like
And then
Shadow
even
War,
yeah,
Mordor. Yeah.
yes, and even some of the stuff like having the stealth missions in Spider-Man, Batman, because I'm at a scene now in Batman where I've got a couple of enemies that I've got to take out, and I tried to come in. Look, I'm just gonna come in now. I'm Batman, all right? And
you got
and I'm gonna jump down, and I'm just gonna knock everybody out. Well, you know what, that Mom, see, that did not work.
because
I was dead. Like,
she's Batman.
I'm like, I'm Batman. I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta be a little more strategic. And I've got to,
But you got to
how I
say
use
it. That's what it is. You have to intimidate them. You have
That's Sting o'clock.
Stang o'clock. Well, it's
The Mustang clock.
7 minutes to Mustang o'clock.
It's always right on time in my room, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I thought it was a
Whatever time it
toilet
is.
flushing. I thought that was a toilet flushing. I was like,
Oh, where is Coop? Where is Coop? Coop's gonna love that. Oh, that's gonna.
Mamacita, can't you see I'm in my room?
no, I'm glad you
Oh
guys.
my goodness
I'm
gracious!
glad you guys.
Oh,
You know what? I was listening to it. I was listening to Lack Street,
oh my
that
god,
show
Coop
at
is
work.
gonna. That's gonna. Well, that's gonna sting.
And I heard when the clock went off because it's a Mustang clock, right? It chimes every hour with a different Mustang sound, and it was loud. I was like, wow, I think it's loud. But you know what? Coop in the chat, he wouldn't understand that because no Camaro's ever been known to be loud.
Oh, good lord. Oh my god, this is gonna be on Twitter tomorrow. Toilet flushing. So it's just so that what you gotta do is you gotta walk in the room and you gotta just growl your voice up a little bit and I'm Batman, and that's how you beat them.
You know, I have, but I'm finding my way with it, and I'm like, wow, what took me so long? And mind you, I'm playing, I'm at the first game in the series. So this is what I think '09. So it's really dated, and but even though it's dated, it's still pretty good. And my timing, I'm trying, because I want to go in all fast. I'm like, okay, this is '09. I've got to kind of slow this down a little bit and just be strategic with your Mamacita, and just time your counters a little different. And oh my gosh, those guys with those stinging rays, I'm like, oh my gosh, they are so annoying. But such is life with video games, right?
That's right. And and you have an entire you do have an entire series to go through now. So.
I do, I do, and I'm looking forward to it. And I don't know how long it's going to take me to complete it, because I told y'all this is my backlog.
That's okay.
So, but
I think everybody's got a pretty big backlog at this point.
Yes.
My backlog is a mile long.
Plus Game Pass.
Exactly, and that's
yes, and that is not helping at all.
But at least we're not paying for it until 2021 and 2025. I mean,
but does anybody else say that they're charged $1 then? Because that's what mine said.
It's a promotion that they ran right after E3.
Okay.
So that is and I think that they so one of the things that Microsoft did they had their Q4 stuff today, which I didn't want to really dive into too much, but we're coming up to the end of this cycle, and all new hardware is coming out and stuff like that. So they've had a sort of a down quarter. Microsoft, the sales of the console have slowed down a bit, as I guess people are starting to get ready for the next round. But they did say that their subscription revenue increased. So
okay,
I
can see why.
Yeah, so they got a lot of new people in the Game Pass, and not everybody necessarily upgraded to Ultimate that had time. So there are some folks that are buying into Game Pass and Ultimate kind of new, and so it'll cost Microsoft a couple of bucks on the foreground, but there were I don't think there were as many people as you might think that that are stacking up years of free Game Pass. So, they're gonna make their money on subscription, and that's where they're going. And this is why it works.
Yeah, it does.
So yeah, Jeff's right, man. DC does better in video games than movies too, because the Arkham games are probably the best comic book games out there right now, because those are based more on comics than Spider-Man, which is more based on kind of the movies. So I can agree with that. So
what's their animation? But their last couple, Aquaman and I think Wonder Woman were great.
Oh yeah,
and I like Suicide Squad. I don't care what anybody says. So
I couldn't finish it. I still haven't seen Justice League either. I haven't even watched it. So. All right, so I wanted to I wanted to pivot to what we wanted to talk about tonight, since we have Mamacita here, and one of the things that I had always been impressed with is kind of what you've done in this space. Oops. I don't know what. Here it is. What you've done as part of, the overall gaming community. So, I think I didn't do my homework before you came on.
Okay.
I remember ClassyGamerGals. because you guys were kind of going. You got started after you came on with us for a bit, and then you started up ClassyGamerGals, and what you did. And this is just my opinion. And again, I said this before the show, and I want to make sure everybody understands I am throwing no shade anywhere towards anybody. There are some fantastic female podcasters out there, and there's some great shows. I always felt that coming on the scene, when we came on the scene a few years ago, there wasn't a lot of that. You might have had somebody on a podcast that came on once in a while. You came on ours once in a while. But then you put together ClassyGamerGals, and you had Enter the Gals Room, and you did so. You yourself, I don't remember you interviewing Hip Hop Gamer. I mean, I remember that from a few years ago.
Yeah.
But you had you did an open mic night, and you talked to people, and you had. But it was you and Tech Not Fancy and Red
yes,
Infamy.
Miss Tech Not Fancy, Red Infamy,
and Candyland.
That was Candyland,
and that was doing, by the way. Do you talk to her much? Today?
Yes, actually, I still talk to her, and sometimes
how
we
is she
game
doing?
together. She's doing good. She has her work life and family is what consumes her. I mean, she's like manager and kind of up there in her job, so her responsibilities. Yes, and Miss Halo Siren was with us as well.
Yes.
From the beginning, so that yes, but it's interesting that you bring that up because we had such a I think it was a diverse group of ladies that kind of came together in their life, from job, career, so personal life. Some had children, some did not, and some were in school, some had finished, some were married, some were not. And just what our experiences as women were, and then how gaming affected our relationships. And I remember I had a podcast where I had the couples on, the two married couples, and they were both gamers, but how gaming, how they managed their time with gaming, their kids, and then even with each other. And I remember you bringing up Candyland, how her husband would say, when I come home, I want a game, and you have the controller, you need to give it up. And she's like, so she's like, and having a wife that likes to game was just kind of different. And he actually said it, not necessarily on camera, but he was like kind of annoyed by that. You would think most men would want that lady, or their significant other to game. But he just was like, I'm not feeling this. When I come home from work, I won't have to share my controller and share my TV. Girl, you won't have to give it up.
It's like the modern day honeymooners.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted, and that was what I envisioned as to what Mamacita and ClassyGamerGals, where I was going to go with what I felt like my voice was. And I didn't know at the time, I wasn't aware of, when I started this, like what the scope and the atmosphere was in gaming. I didn't care about Xbox, who was PlayStation, who was PC. I just wanted to talk games. I just wanted to talk about video games and women and what we brought to it. And then I was so intrigued with the response that I would get from so many other people when I told them I was a gamer. I really was. I mean, I've told these stories time and time, so I don't need to repeat them. But I couldn't believe people just couldn't believe that I play video games. I was like, why can't you believe that? But then I'm thinking, yes, you can, Mamacita, because think about how you used to perceive those that gamers, and then you've got to remember, myself when I started playing, I used to hide the fact that I play video games. So when I say hide, literally try to hide it from my family, hide it from my peers, my friends, because I thought it was kind of embarrassing. Here I am, this, grown woman, and I like to play video games. So who's going to go listen to that? Who's going to listen to that in a corporate boardroom? And Who's going to listen to that when I'm trying to process, talk to management or talk, who's really going to listen to that? So I used to try to show that, and I'll never forget. A girlfriend of mine had come over to my house, and I was playing Rise of the Tomb Raider. I mean, all in it. And my daughter let her in, and she walks into my theater room, and I'm just at it, and she goes, what are you watching? What movie are you watching? I was like, oh, girl, just something I found on Netflix, because she didn't know any different. She didn't know it was a video game. So I just told her something on Netflix. Why couldn't I say at that time I was playing a video game? Because I was embarrassed because of the culture of video game, people, the way they will look at you, because I would get side-eyed. People would, what? Oh, okay, video games, huh? Oh, that kind of thing. But then I didn't stay there long. I started to say, you know what? This is who I am. I don't care how you perceive me. I yes, classy and all that. Yes, that's me. But I can be classy and I can love video games. Okay. I can be Mamacita and I can love video games. And no, I don't stink. I take baths. I brush my teeth. I wash my hair. I don't sit on my couch and eat potato chips all day. These stigmas that are aligned with gamers. Yep. And then mind you, you're talking gamers, now you're talking women in gaming. Oh my gosh. And so, and then the guys, I always loved how the guys would go. I would go, okay, you play video games, and then this big grin. You play video games? Oh. And I'll go, yeah. And then they would ask me, what games do you play? And then when I would roll off games that I play, like Tomb Raider or God of War, and I would say, at the time, hey, I would play Halo and Gears. But when I say Skyrim, Elder Scrolls, I'm a big fan, Dragon Age, then they would say, oh, you're a real gamer. And I would go, okay, a real gamer? I didn't know what that meant at the time, but I get it now because they were into Grand Theft Autos, 2K. That's kind of all they played. They didn't go outside of that. So I was considered a real gamer, or I guess you would call hardcore.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. They figured. Oh, you play Miss Pac-Man and. You play right.
Candy Crush.
Bejeweled. Right.
Like, okay, you know what? On my phone, in my pastime back in the day. Right. But now, no, right. Buddy, no, and then nothing's wrong with those games. Something, you play with. But yeah, that is how. And then when I would roll off the games, and then
screw that game. Farmville.
Oh, I never played Farmville.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that even still around, Farmville? I don't even know. I'm sorry.
They got a game on Xbox that's kind of like Farmville, so it's like. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, and that's awesome because if you look at the statistics now, and I found this. So, in 2006, it's about the time so we're talking Xbox 360 and PS3 era, right? 38% of total gamers, were female. 38%. Now, in 2019. It's between 46 and 50%. It is almost half of the gaming population out there now. And when I go to when I went to and I want to ask you about E3 because when I used to go to E3, you didn't see a lot of female gamers. I had female PR contacts, but there weren't a lot of gamers in the press. There weren't a lot of minus the women they hired for the booths, and not that I never found anything wrong with that, but they weren't gamers. They weren't invested. They were just being paid to point to a car or something like that. They weren't actually gamers. Now, you went to E3 this year. what's the contingent? I mean, you ran into a bunch of gamers that I know on Twitter. I mean, I a quarter of my Twitter followers, Twitter friends.
Yeah, there are more, and it seems like every year that I go, I do see more. I see more women each year. Their presence on the floor, in lines to play the games. But I think. I think even with that number of 46 to 50% of females playing video games, I don't know what that breakdown is. Well, video games as far as phone, PC, console. That's what I would like to see. And I know that, I mean, I can tell you that most women I know play games on their phones. Yeah. Most of them that I know. But there's only a small number that I personally know that play on console. And so that number, I do believe, is growing. I do believe it's growing. And because gaming is kind of intertwining now, console, mobile, you know, we're kind of all, it looks like we're headed into this, you know, I'm not saying that there's, it's kind of underneath one umbrella is what I'm trying to say. It looks like that's where we're going. Yeah. But I think there's still I think that people in gaming, I don't want to say guys, because I don't want to make it seem like it's just guys, because I think women, we don't even really sometimes realize that women actually we like to play certain type of games. Because I'm going to give you an example of what happened to me at the Xbox Monday night, the Fan Fest game night, where we had access to the games, and I was in line with Delilah HD to play Bleeding Edge, and we were standing there, and it was a pretty long line, and we were moving along, and as we walked up, and it was our turn next to be selected, the guy at the line who's telling you when to go. Well, Delilah walks ahead, so she goes on, and I'm standing there because I'm waiting for him to tell me, okay, well, which way to go. But then he moves around me and tells the three guys behind me to come on. He goes, come on, and so I turn. I'm like, huh? I've been standing in this line for like an hour to play for the minutes. I'm right here. And then he turns around. I said, sir. And he goes, I said, I'm ready. I want to play. He goes, oh, you're going to play? I said, yeah, why do you think I've been standing in this line the past hour? So I'm thinking, when I walked up and Delilah goes, I saw what he did. He just went right around you. I said, yeah, then why do you think I was standing here? So I think there's still this visual perception that certain, not just women, but then of course maybe certain type of women. I don't know what it is. You just think you think I'm just standing here just to look. And then so when he said you're going to play, and he saw me go up and I got the control, and I kind of turned my head to kind of see if he was still watching me, and he was still watching, like, I got to see this. But I don't know. And I had that discussion, Delilah and I actually had that discussion on the floor as to why do we still kind of get that? So as much as there's progress, I just don't know how big of a presence women are having with console gaming. I don't necessarily mean in far as game development and that side of it. I mean actually playing. And I'm not saying, I just don't know. I like to know what that breakdown is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
So the ESA, which of course is, the Entertainment Software Association, simply says it's all gamers. And one of the 46% I found was on a site called Statista, which it all it says is that women accounted for nearly 46% of all gamers in the United States, a slight increase over the previous year. So it doesn't break down necessarily mobile versus console versus PC, and really one of the interesting things that's going on now in the gaming industry as a whole is that entire ecosystem, or that entire those sectionalities are coming together. So pretty soon, mobile may not mean anything. The amount of people who are playing, the amount of kids who are playing Roblox on a tablet rather than a console, the amount of people who are playing Fortnite on their phone instead of a console. You know, I don't. You know, it's a little hard to. And so I think they just say of pretty much all gamers. It's hard to break down where they're playing. Whatever it is, I think the number is getting better, and I think what's happening is as I will say that I do think the type of game is causing that. You know, you are a different type of gamer. You are more of that core, you know, Halo and Gears and Forza and that kind of thing. I don't know that I find a lot of that outside of my Twitter feed. And so, you know, the advent of, you know, look, Microsoft's trying to chase a whole wider net of gamers. So you see a lot of these games like Riverbend, like you know, like these smaller, easier games that attract a wider base. And I think that probably is bringing females into gaming, and that's not a bad thing because then they get exposed to, well, wait a minute, what is this? You know,
right?
Halo. And so they start to realize, wait a minute, maybe I do like Halo after all, and so they become core gamers. They become bigger gamers. I mean, I've got there's ladies on my feed like Trinity and you know that you know that she's streaming hardcore stuff, man, and I'm like, yeah, that's, you know, it doesn't, to her it doesn't matter, she just enjoys it. And that's and so I think that those numbers are going up on a whole, bringing in different types of games to get people hooked. You know, the casual gamer, and there's casual guy gamers, casual girl gamers, and I think that as they all come in, they you know, then they get, with Game Pass, they get exposed to something, you know, they get exposed to the bigger games too.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna tell you, when Google introduced the Stadia, and I know, you know, people, there were, you know, all kinds of opinions and all that about what that's actually going to do with the game industry, but there was something that Google said that stuck out for me, which I've always kind of said over the years. Google said, I'm going to let Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo fight over the tens of millions of gamers. We're going to go after the hundreds of millions. And love it or like it, you know, I mean, love it or hate it, it's truth. There's truth to that. There are hundreds of millions of people that actually play games, but they're not on console.
Yeah.
You know, they're playing on tablets, they're playing on phones, and they don't care about graphics. They don't care about pixels. I mean, it's the truth. And Mike, we've been saying this. We have been saying this for the past couple of years. But I think what's happening now is we're seeing it come into fruition. And I think gamers like myself, whether it's women like myself who love the hardcore experience, and you know, all of us, period. We've got this internal battle with, okay, like, do we want to see, you know, do I really want to go with this? Because we kind of feel, some of us feel threatened by what we see. I don't, you know, and I get for those that may not want to go to this, you know, streaming capabilities and all that. I understand that, but I mean, that's just where we're going. And, you know, you're either going to just get with the program or, I guess, get out of gaming. I don't know, but that's where we're going. And I think that women have always enjoyed playing video games, but I think from my own experience, video games after a certain age just wasn't cool anymore. So, you know, I just thought, it's not cool to play video games. At least that's what I thought. I think the cool factor to video games have just returned, and people are not judging us. I don't have to feel the way I felt years ago about telling people that I play video games now. I don't get the response as much, not the negative, like, what's wrong with her? I don't get that. Video games are like really immature. I really had someone say that to me in a conversation we were having. Video games they're for immature people, and they actually believe that.
Right.
And so and I bet you she's one of those ones that are on her phone or on Facebook night after night. And I'll even have ladies say to me, when I get in bed, girl, I have to play my game. I have to go in and I play because they love like the farming games and, the games where you have the communities and you have to grow the community and, you have to go storage. But then they'll tell me, I can't wait. I don't want to have to pay for, my area or my town to level up. I hate that part. And I'm like, but girlfriend, hold on. Wait a minute. Why you side-eyeing me for being on Xbox, and you talking about every night for 2 hours in bed before you go to sleep, you checking your town, and come on, that doesn't mesh. That doesn't mesh, So I think the definition of gaming is just changing, period, and it has become more mainstream.
Yeah. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, I was gonna say, my wife, she's a gamer. But she loves Halo, she loves fighting games, but she hasn't played a lot, over the years as she's gotten older, just, being a mom and just working, she just hasn't got involved in it on the console side, but she's on her, like you were saying, she's on her mobile phone and she's playing some of those games. But ever since I brought a Switch into the house, she'll play Mario, Mario Kart, and my daughter's 6 years old, my youngest, and she's getting very competitive in that. So we're starting to let's have some game nights, on the Switch and so I consider my family gamers, both my daughters. My oldest is definitely a gamer. She loves playing on Xbox, and she was playing Spider-Man last night. So
nice.
And she's kind of gotten into. She's interested in the gaming development, the graphic part of it. So she's in a non-profit organization that for art, people who want to get into the art world, and she's in a program called Hive, and they learn how to code and develop games, like a Unity engine and so on, and there's different parts of the whole game, and but another thing I wanted to say about as far as women in gaming. I've seen it grown over the years, especially on my timeline. I follow a lot of people, and I've seen all types of gamers, and I've seen women, they're playing the same games that I'm playing. And I know you always have. And one thing that I think the community, people need to get away from is calling women female gamers. Oh, you're a female gamer. No, you're a gamer, period. That's it. Like, do you have to add female to it? You don't do the same thing to a man saying, "Oh, you're a male gamer." So, I think
this is true.
You're a gamer. Period. That's it. You don't need to add that. And I've seen the positivity that Microsoft is trying to bring. Like, you've been at E3. I think at it's a GDC. Where they'll have women in gaming and bring. I've seen Delilah talk about that. I think she's been to one of those events. So it's there. Microsoft and Sony. I'm not sure if Nintendo was part of that. They're trying to change the culture. They're saying gaming is for everybody. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from.
And I think it puts you in a, because it's like, what's the right? I don't know. What's the best approach? Because while, yes, we are all gamers, and I totally agree with you on that I think people use this, oh, you're a female gamer. They put the female gamer in front of gamer to make it seem like, she's a female gamer and she's gaming for a specific reason.
Yeah.
And so they try to put that before to make her different from a regular gamer. She's a female gamer, so that means she's somewhere on Twitch trying to bring attention to herself. And I think sometimes we get caught up in that with the female gamer. But when you have, let's say, women in gaming, because there have been conferences, there have been specific topics for women and geared to women, because women sometimes have felt isolated in gaming. I myself, which is why I kind of stayed away from online gaming in the beginning, multiplayer, because of the comments and you get into the chats and stuff and things that would be said. I was like, I don't want to hear that. I don't give up my Instagram. I don't even have Instagram. At least at the time, what's your Instagram? And give me your stats and what's your name? How old are you? And, I just didn't want to go there. Or then if you are, let's say you are competitive and you are playing very well, then you run into the ones that you're a B because you're beating them and you're playing very well. Well, let's say you're not playing very well. Well, then you're B because you're not playing very well. So it's like there was no way to go with it. So I'm like, you know what? I can't do this, and I don't want to do this. And of course, people say, "My mama said to put your big girl pants on," and I'm kind of there now, but there sometimes, I don't want to hear that. I just don't want to get into those types of things. So I think that's why coming together as women and having certain particular topics that are geared for us, because we kind of understand that culture. And that doesn't mean that we're trying to say we're not gamers. It's just that we have we have different experiences as women. And trying to balance that, whereas I don't want to be treated differently because I'm a gamer, but I do have different experiences in that. I do. I'm a woman, and sometimes you guys just going to talk to, some of you are going to talk to me a little different. Because I come with a set of tatas. That's just the truth.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah, they do, and it's disheartening somewhat knowing that my daughters, that they have to put up with that. I'm sure my oldest has put up with that playing online. So
it's funny because there's a difference. To me, there's always a difference between, when you're talking about people looking at you just as a gamer, like, what are you doing gaming because gaming is so immature? Like, my father used to, my father's thing to me was always, well, he's not out selling drugs. So that was his thing. At least he's not out spending his money on drugs. But are you're the stigma used to be when there wasn't a lot of female gamers, like, you don't belong here, like, this is our nerd territory, and what are you doing in our nerd territory? I can only speak for what I see. It seems like that is at least getting much better than it used to be.
I think it is, and I think it is, and those that make that comment actually don't know their history in gaming, because when I was coming up, everybody on my block played video games, the girls and the boys. We all played them. I grew up in a house full of sisters. We all played video games. It's just that as you matured, and when I went off to college, it's just that games didn't grow up with you.
Right.
And but then now in today's environment, games grow up with you. And games didn't, they are so much more mature, of course, and they are actually for adults and not necessarily for kids. So gaming itself was just looked at as something kids did. So when people, the ones that look at me and say, why are you gaming? Those are male and females. I get that from women as much as men, or at least I was, not as much now. Because it's just that what video games are supposed to be. They're supposed to be for kids. Now, those that look at women that game, it's like, you're not supposed to be here. Well, we were always there. We may not have stayed with it as games kind of matured, but we always played video games. And I think what's happening now, women are seeing, okay, well, yeah, it's okay for me to like to play video games. Because of some of the things that used to be said, may have been some reasons why a lot of women stayed away because of the way it was perceived. And then let's be honest here. There are a lot of women that have those stigmas. I mean, I get it, I see it, and I hear from a lot of guys that they don't have, like you do, Fastback, that their women don't understand that love for gaming. Yeah. I've had a few of my friends. I don't want to date a gamer. I would never date a gamer. I don't want to compete against no other woman, and I damn sure don't want to compete against a video game. And that's how a number of women are feeling. But as they see gaming, their own love for gaming, I think that may help them kind of ease off of that and not say, it's immature or it's something for my son to do or my little girl to do,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's, I think that as time went on too, part of, there are some things that people kind of point to as, and I am not, I think anybody who knows me really knows I don't get very open about it in Twitter. I'm not the most politically correct guy in the world. I don't, there are some things in the industry right now that are cringeworthy to me, but there are some things that are not. And it's really funny. You mentioned Rise of the Tomb Raider as one of the games you were playing, back then, and you played through Shadow, right?
Yes,
yeah,
I did.
I'm playing it right now. So, taking and what kind of segue to characters, female characters in games, and some of the good female characters in games, because that's one of the things that I think is really starting to come up, and when done correctly, and when done, and this is just my opinion, if you can create a strong female character simply because because as an overall you have a strong video game character, I think that's very powerful. And Lara Croft is one of those that has stood. She's like the Prince of video game characters. I'm sorry, like the David Bowie of video game characters. As she's moved up the line, her style has changed. So
yes,
and I am not gonna lie. I will still get right on camera. When I started playing Lara Croft on the PC and on the Sega Saturn, you're darn right, the way she looked was a little bit of a draw, and they knew that. They knew that.
Yeah, of course.
And it wasn't just she had the polygon tatas. She had the midriff going and the short shorts and by the way, she could kick some ass. But as I played those games, the thing is what drew me to Tomb Raider was the fact that I had to take this character, as cute as she was, but I still had to play the game. And so, the draw for me became, how do I get Lara through this tomb? How do I solve these puzzles?
No, tell the truth, Mike. The truth, the truth. How do I get Laura through this tomb without looking at her? Go ahead.
How do I get her to jump in this water for me? No, but I mean, that is yes, there was the eye candy of Lara Croft, but then the reason that Lara Croft has survive the test of time is because the actual game and the story and the things behind the game really became more about, how can I get her through this area? How can I get her through this story? Which is also why I have such a great love of the Uncharted series. How could I do this with Nathan Drake? It became more about the game and less about the character. And so was the sort of the evolution of where they took Laura when they actually have kind of gone through the prequels, I'm okay with. Now, in Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I can play as old Tomb Raider, as old Laura. I can play as Angel of Darkness Laura, and I can't lie and say I didn't do that a little bit. But the character, you know, they if you go through the rest of the outfits, those outfits are gone. But it doesn't, to me, take away from who Lara Croft is and what Tomb Raider is, because she's still a strong, and I totally disagree with Niall here, she's a strong young woman who, in the first game was kind of finding her way, but as I'm playing through Shadow, she's not afraid of much. in fact, she's leading the way in places that what's his name, Joshua, who's the guy. See, that's how strong a character she is. I can't remember the guy's name, but you know, she's the one who's making her way through everything. And some of these challenge tombs I've been playing through are vintage Tomb Raider, and what reminds me of the character. So, you know, I was okay with the change in Lara Croft because it's not that she's just a female character. She's a strong character, happens to be female. And I don't find any. To me, that's what I like to see.
But there are those that were and have been upset about the changes, or let's just say maybe not upset, but just didn't like the direction of some of the female characters and the way they are depicted now. And I mean, that has been a thing here lately. That you know, there's just the movement, and I don't. You know, I've tried to really think about, you know, what my views are about that, and I can only give my own experiences being a woman and being in scenarios and situations, and then knowing how we as women, how we are perceived. I'm not gonna lie, I used to say, you know, about Laura playing the earlier verse, like, are you serious? Like, can you really run with your girls like that? You know, or when you're in the high heels, I mean, come on, for real. You think you're gonna run through a swamp in, you know, in stilettos? I mean, come on, that's not gonna happen. You're gonna trip and fall. Those stilettos are gonna dig so deep down into that into the ground, and then you're gonna be stuck. You're not gonna go anywhere. You're not gonna be shooting, killing nobody. So, you know, and I'm like in little tight booty shorts. I mean, I used to wear them. I had my time. I wore my little tight stuff. I couldn't run around like that and swing my legs and throw. I couldn't karate chop nobody in those tight booty shorts. But okay, that's in reality. But this isn't reality. This is video games. This is just, you know. So I get that. But then there is that balance as to who you are marketing these to. You know, the way you are depicting women. Because, I mean, there is a sexualization of her. And granted, you guys are going to admit, it's eye candy. And you get to see her bouncing around. You get to see the stuff moving and jiggling. And while you're fighting, okay.
Right. Look at Dead or Alive. You know, there were codes for that. Dead or Alive game, the fighting games.
But I'm like, I don't want to see her bouncing around. I want to see her stuff. But, you know, but then at the same time, hold on, though. I got to be honest. You bring on, you bring on my characters and gears, and okay. All right, Marcus, I see you.
little of this going on, little Coltrane, we got these guys, these big giants. Yeah, you're right. You know, they
you know, I mean, you know, so my thing is, if you keep it, just balance it. That's my approach with it. I don't mind, you know, doing so, you know, the sexuality, just show the sexuality or things, not necessarily sexuality, but you know, and showing what somebody's working with. Okay, but let me see it on the males. And now, would you guys then have a problem? Let's just say you're playing a video game and the cutscene goes to a certain area of his body, like his buttocks or his butt. I mean, you know, and I don't want to get into this isn't a who's straight and gay or who's heterosexual. That's not what this is even about. I'm just saying, male, female, how they're presented. Would would there be an uproar for that? Because I almost see this guy's behind in the screen. I don't want, so I mean, but these are things that we as women, we've always had to just deal with. Not just video games, movies, television commercials, sports. You go to a boxing match and here's a girl with a car, she's round 3. So I mean, it's always been there. So
but it has changed a lot over the years. Like the perception of women can still be sexy, but still be strong and kick ass. And you're seeing that, like, let's look at Gears 5. I thought Gears 4, when I played the story, I enjoyed the story, and I noticed that it was pretty deep with Kate and her mom, and you saw that where it was going. There were Gears 4 seemed more about her and what she was going through more than what was it Dom and his son, right? I felt like it was that they were a bigger part of that. And then now here she is. She's the lead character in Gears 5. And she looks pretty cool. So I'm interested in seeing what that story is about. And it's not because she's a female, but I thought I enjoyed what she brought in Gears 4. So
think about the and this is why I brought up, the fact that they don't necessarily have to be. It's just that they're, hey, let's just. Where I was going was, in this day and age, what we're trying to do is, what people are trying to do is check a box, fill a quota. If I'm being honest, we need to get, we have to have this in a game because just so that we could feel good about society, so we can be accepted into society. So we're gonna shoehorn this specific type of character into the game, and I have a problem with. I can't, I don't understand. And it's funny because De Niro listed off a couple of characters that I was actually going to list off, and that we talk about Lara Croft, right? How about Claire Redfield from Resident Evil? Claire was a badass woman. Yeah, and she was kind of cute. Let's be honest. I mean, there's a little of that they don't put. Come on, folks. They don't put ugly video characters in games. They just don't. Male or female. They just don't. Claire Redfield. Seamus from Metroid. That's the what was her name from Mass Effect? Half the female characters in Mass Effect. Jill Valentine. For better.
Now Andromeda, they weren't too good looking.
Well, okay, and Andromeda, I'm talking.
I know what you mean.
But I mean, let's even talk about characters like Bayonetta. She's super well drawn.
Endowed.
Yes. and the joke on her is, when she powers up, right? But at the same time, she is a killer, like an actual killer. Like, people want to play her because they want her guns out blasting things.
But why not utilize the assets and have like a laser beam shooting out the tatas?
The laser. Oh,
if you're gonna have them out
Austin
there to be
Powers.
seen, make them useful.
Like Austin Powers.
Yeah, give me
You got laser
a
beams in your jugglies.
give me an ability.
So, but even like Nier Automata. There's
the
the
famous butt.
yeah.
The booty.
What was her? What was that? Shoot, there's a PlayStation series. I played it a little bit. By Sony Japan. Shoot, I stopped playing it because it got kind of boring. But it's the same kind of thing. She's running around in high heel shoes and looking all schoolgirlish. And Lord, you get over to Japan and they don't care. They don't care over there. And Niall's bringing up at least. I'll give Niall this. The bath scene in Witcher. Where we're seeing that. But I think that when we get to, I don't mind, like you, I don't mind it either. The sexuality, Gravity Rush. Thank you, Jeff. See, Jeff is our encyclopedia.
I can't see the chat.
Oh, you should be looking at the Skype screen.
Well, the thing is, if I make it bigger, I'm going to get too dark. My lighting, okay. So I've got to keep it small.
Gotcha. If you open up Twitch, if you open up the Twitch page, you should be able to pop the chat out without watching the video.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing, so I can. Type.
Okay.
So, okay. Yeah, Jeff is our encyclopedia. Like when he's not on, man, we fall apart. When he's not in the chat. But I mean,
we forget how to use Google ourselves.
Yes. There are just so many, and yes, like Rain from Blood Rain. She was, and in the movies too. Showing off the stomach and had showing off the legs. At the same time, you had Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn, who had this power about her, but she was still young, and I don't know. I think that if you have the right character, then you can mold around. Yes, you can mold around some of the objectivity of using a female character, but I don't know. I think of it kind of like the Terminator movie series, right? With Linda Hamilton, like Linda Hamilton in Terminator 2.
Oh yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And she's coming back in a big way in the new one.
Yes, she is. So is Edward Furlong, by the way. He's now coming back as But she was the embodiment of not just a hot woman, but a powerful, strong, like when she broke into what's his name's house, man, that was insane. And when she's doing those pull-ups at the beginning of the movie, right, in her psycho cell,
yes,
and like you just see like you don't cross this woman, but and that's what I'm talking about, is to be able to balance that, that strength and beauty. There's nothing, I don't find anything wrong with the beauty part either, but I think what I just don't like seeing is that I feel like we're getting to a point to where we're trying to shove these into games just to get them into games to say they have them, and that's where I think female game characters are kind of being done wrong, if I'm to coin a phrase. Like, I want to see more Cortanas, I want to see more Aloys. I want to see more. And you know what, with Tomb Raider, if it's okay if in the next Tomb Raider series, maybe I don't think there'd be a problem if she came back in an outfit from the 90s, because she's still an ass kicker, and you're still making that, you're still playing Tomb Raider. So that's
Yeah, well, I mean, we are just in, we're in times where, women, and I'm speaking as women as in general, are just, I think we are, you know, we're tired of being overly sexualized. And you notice I say overly
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because I can't speak for all women. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to say if I'm speaking for women because I'm not. I'm my own woman, and I can only speak for myself. But as women, and because I've the relationships that I've had with women, and I kind of know how a lot of us feel. I know that most of us want it balanced. You're going to always have those on the extremes of all sides. But most of us want it balanced because I don't mind you telling me I'm sexy if you think I am. I'm not offended. If you say, hey, sexy lady, that doesn't offend me at all. But there are women that are so offended by that. Just saying you're sexy. You're a sexy lady. I'm not offended by that. Now, but if you come up to me and you say I'm a sexy lady, and I say, well, thank you. But then you begin to follow me and then you begin to touch me, or you put your hands on me, hey, sexy lady, and then you want to touch me and you want to, okay, now you've gone over the top.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think but then how do the depiction of women? And then I think that's why we're kind of where we are, where they just really don't know. So there's kind of going to the extreme with things, I think, sometimes in certain areas, because it's like, okay, well, if we're gonna change behaviors, then we've got to put different images in front of people. We've got to put different images in front of men. We've got to have let's take a woman with the big tatas, and now let's just cut them off and show them with no tatas. I mean, okay, what's that going to do for him? He's going to say, oh, so now I'm going to respect a woman when I see her now because that girl on the TV doesn't have tatas now. That is not what's going to happen. Because soon as he see one with them big old gazooka, he goes, eyes going to roll out his head and he's going to go crazy. So I think you have to balance it. Just balance it. Keep it balanced. Show the men, show the women. Or if you're going to show the women, okay, you know what? These big old jugs. I'm like, all right. Even for me though, I have to say, it's like just bring the jugs in a little bit. What's wrong? What was wrong going from a double D to a D? What's wrong with that? That's a happy medium, I think. I mean, but that's just me.
And that was in Mortal Kombat 11, right? That people made a big deal about that. Wasn't it that game that?
Yeah. I'm like, okay, you know what? It's like, but we don't. I mean, tell me a video game where we get to critique any of a guy's sexual parts, or tell me a game where we get to say, see, that's my thing. Show me. We don't get that. And this is what I find so funny. If I'm playing a game and I have family over and some of the guys are over, and if there is a scene somewhere in a game or a movie where a male is like, they're showing his attractiveness in some form or fashion, oh, I don't want to see that. Oh, turn that. Oh, that. Oh, do we have to watch this? Do we have to? And they'll be quick to say, but as soon as Miss Thing, Miss Thing is on there, I'm like, but that's just kind of the culture that I mean, it's been that way forever and a day. And how are you going to change that? You're not going to change that overnight.
You've never sat next to your spouse in the middle of a Twilight movie. Sorry. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
They may as well have called those movies Somebody Takes His Shirt Off Part 3. And
but what's wrong with it?
There's nothing wrong. Well, that's my point. So I have been in video games, it doesn't happen as often because, nowadays too, with the type of video games that you're playing, you could create your own character. So you can make it you can make your character as good looking, or you can make them big, small, tall, short. You could do what you want, but I have been in line when I've heard women around me going, man, what I would do to him. And I'm thinking,
yes, Lord,
Lord have mercy. And my wife is just laughing, and I'm going, yeah, you don't hide it,
Because finally,
right.
I mean, give me a break. What's the oh my gosh, what is the other movie? Oh my God, I cannot believe this movie. Oh my gosh, there is no way that this movie isn't coming to my memory bank. I cannot believe it. The 50 Shades. 50 Shades
of
Grey.
You're right.
Oh my God.
Right.
Oh my God. All my sisters and girlfriends, all of us, there were like 10 of us with our popcorn. And we were like, and we were like, oh my Lord. All of us was in love. And all of us had all those fantasies. But that's what I'm saying. I feel like we as women, we have been deprived the sexualization of men visually in outside of who we in the house with. But I mean, come on, when we're sitting there and we're watching the TV, we may see more of that now, and it may be moving. But I mean, come on, just think about it. You don't see the man sliding on a car, to sell a car. He ain't in his, he ain't doing that. He ain't doing what you're doing, Mike. Laid all up, all sexy and stuff.
Oh my goodness.
He ain't. You don't see.
I'm about to turn 50 Shades of Red right now.
You don't get to see that. Come on. So yeah, when the 50 Shades or when Twilight come out and all the guys or most of the lead roles are like eye-popping, like gorgeous, women are like, oh my God, this is just, because it isn't the norm for us. There's always
Gamer showed up just in time.
Sexy Mike.
Yeah, look at Mike. Yeah, he leaned all back and see him fast back. He had his arms all like styling and profiling.
At his gigs behind his keyboard.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He hasn't shown us that stuff.
Oh no.
You mean you never done the bachelor party for the women?
No.
Aren't they?
No.
Ooh, aren't they? They are just a madhouse, aren't they?
I know. I was watching. My wife and I, to feel better about ourselves, we watch stuff like 90 Day Fiance. I've seen some of those.
Yes.
I've seen.
Yeah. We've been deprived. I feel like women have been deprived, and then women are. This is what I do give to the younger women, although I still think there's a line that I won't cross, but I still feel like, we have been, be a lady, and I'm always about being a lady first and foremost. So I'm not saying it's never, you don't be a lady. But what I'm saying is, if I express myself as a lady, if I express my sexuality as a lady, sometimes that can be perceived as provocative, and that could be perceived as I don't know, for lack of a better term, I don't want to get too out there with it, but kind of hoish. They would say you would get that. So women we've got to walk a certain way. We've got to carry ourselves a certain way. But then we look on the TV and this girl is all out like this and the guys are going crazy over her. But I've got to act a certain way if I'm going to get married. I've got to cross my legs and I've got to go to But you're going crazy over this girl with the big kazooka butt. So I think that's what this transition where women are saying, hey, I can be who I am and I can love me, and I'm all for that. But I do think that you can't say I want this on one hand, but then when someone responds this way, you have a problem with it. I'll never forget. There was a scenario. I was in Europe actually, and I was on the train, and the man had given up his seat for the young lady, and he got up and said, "You could have my seat," and she was offended. She said, "What do you think? You don't have to give your seat up for me." But I'm thinking to myself, what's wrong with that? What have we done where it's like a man treating a woman like a lady is now wrong? I was like, no, I never want to live in a world like that. But I think, I don't know, but sometimes I think we're all over the place with things, and we haven't found our foot in it. And I think we're just on both sides of the extreme, and no one's trying to bridge it and just kind of balance things and keep it in the middle. But I don't know. That's just me.
No, I
hear
have
you.
seen it too, and it's. I think there is just a way, a place that we are going, and it's difficult because it is in a way seeping into gaming, and look, and it's hard because it's hard to even sometimes talk about it because you don't want people to get the wrong idea about what you're saying,
Right.
or get, well, you're a male gamer, so you can't speak on this. That's something I have a hard time with too, because I would never tell. I'm gonna put up some pictures of female gaming characters. I would never tell somebody. She's one of my favorites. I mean, I love this game. This game was so great. By the way, this game was just wonderful. Indie Gamer, by the way, this says hello.
Hello, how are you? And to anyone else in the chat that has spoke to me, I apologize if I haven't been responding. I can't see the chat. I mean, it's there, but it's just really tiny for me. So, but hello and hi, Mike. So you did play Horizon Zero Dawn?
I did indeed.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Did you think that though when she was a child? Well, forgive me for having to say this, but I kind of thought she reminded me as a kid now, not as an adult, but she reminded me of a Oompa Loompa. She had her head was kind of. Remember, there was that scene where she had to climb, and all I could see was Oompa 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 Doo Doo, and I was going. But once I got past that part, I was.
Wow.
I was good. She did. She reminded me because I thought they made her head kind of extra large. When I don't know if anybody in the chat felt that way too, but I was like, why did they make her head that big? But it didn't take away from the game.
I don't
see now when I play that game, I'm gonna be thinking that.
Yeah. As a kid now, when she was a child.
Super Cooper says she looked off too.
So when she got older, she finally cut her.
Yeah, it wasn't just me, huh? Someone said it. Someone else said it.
Yeah, said it.
Yeah, Super Cooper. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm so glad it wasn't just me.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, good game though. Really good game.
Good save.
Yeah. One thing I would say, and that I want for my daughters, and you see it more, like with the Tomb Raider. I think she's a little more relatable to females nowadays.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, that games don't always have to be sexualized, over sexualized. And so, characters like Lara Croft, the new Lara Croft, where if you played the series, you kind of grew with her. She changed, right? And so you've seen that change, the progression, and to where now she's the aggressor now in the third one, which I still need to play too. And so you're seeing a little bit more of that. But I guess there are some games, maybe like Dead or Alive, where they're depicted. That's just worked for that game, right?
Well, and that's right, and that's always been the draw to Dead or Alive. Unfortunately,
yeah.
Not unfortunately. I mean, that's always been the draw has been that.
Yeah, because they were to make them look like actual female volleyball players, like in the Olympics and all that. They won't look like that. So,
no. But I mean, too, Street Fighter does the same thing. Honestly, everybody loves Chun-Li.
Yeah.
And now that they've got characters that wrestlers that they hit you. Their finishing move crushes you between their butts. I mean, it's being honest. There is still some of that out there.
Now that probably happens in real life.
Well, if you watch wrestling,
there are some butts out here. So, no, there are some booties out here that could crush you. I'm
sure. I wasn't trying to go there.
You gotta be careful. Too much booty, not good for you.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Oh my goodness. But I mean, look, wrestling. They definitely try to play on that in wrestling. That kind of sexuality of the female wrestlers, and now some of them are great, and some of them are there are some that they draw on it, but then they bring you in with their talent because they are talented. But it's definitely a place where it's there, and a lot of women go and watch it. A lot of women love to see it. Like they love that. They love the female wrestlers and the divas as they call them in WWE, and the knockouts as they call them in Impact Wrestling. They're specifically called these things for a reason. So, but anyway, I just it's hard because gaming has changed so much. You do have to strike a balance, and I agree with that. When this was a core dominated industry, you could get away with Lara Croft looking the way she did. I could understand. That's why I understand what it was, and I agree with. Was it you, Chris, that was talking about her, or no? Which one of you said that she's now the aggressor? It was you, Chris.
Yeah, the newer. Yeah.
And part of that goes to what I was talking about with the story. In Rise of the Tomb Raider, she was not Rise. In was the first one was I guess the first one was Tomb Raider and crap. What was the first game in the trilogy?
It was Tomb Raider.
Andy said just Tomb Raider.
Okay, so it was just Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking now just to make sure I'm... Yeah, Tomb Raider... So it was just Tomb Raider. And she was, she was young, she was just kind of bringing her way up. She was, there was an immaturity to her that, grew. Her maturity grew as that series went along. And, that's why I said in Shadow of the Tomb Raider, she's extremely mature.
Yeah.
She is, she's in control, and she now wants to, she's becoming the Lara Croft that you see in the original games, where she's going into tombs, and that's what I like about that game too, is that they brought back a lot of those things that the puzzle solving and the tomb raiding, and they got away from that
in Rise.
Yeah, and they're kind of
in the first one a little bit. Yeah, right. Yeah.
So it was good to see them bring it back into the fold as this is who she is. She was, yes, she had her guns. Yes, she still has her bow in this game, but she's it's called Tomb Raider for a reason. And so I was glad to see them get back to that as well. So
yeah. Well, the bottom line is there are more female developers, there are more female gamers, players. So that means, there's a changing mindset. So things are going to have to change. That's just kind of how it is. It really is. You're gonna have to cater to your market, and like you said, Mark, when the core dominating core was a certain demographic, you could get away with certain things where it's not that so much anymore.
Yeah.
So hey, but I mean, like I said, just I want some eye candy. So just give me eye candy sometimes, and I'm good.
What about Kratos, man? Kratos had some guns. Kratos.
No,
Kratos
maybe the earlier Kratos, maybe. I don't know. This last Kratos. I mean, I loved the new God of War now, the God of War 4. I loved what they did with the series now. Don't get me wrong, but Kratos was just not appealing anymore. Not for me. I didn't think so. They didn't. And you notice how they didn't have any scenes of him being who he usually is in the previous God of Wars.
True.
So that was they kind of took out. I mean, he was pretty much he was a womanizer. So but he's got a kid now, so he can't. I mean, maybe that accounted for the growth and maturity. So,
and that's another thing, another part of where you see female characters are changing, where they're not being overly sexualized as much, and so now you're seeing more male characters where they're not being that womanizer type, macho and this and that. A little bit more mature and caring, but in some way. But I guess it's.
But I hope they don't. I hope they don't move away from showing. Like there were games that I've played, my Dragon Ages, and I loved when my character fell in love, and they interacted, and just having that relationship and the kissing and the hugging. I was just watching like, I hope they don't move away from giving us the satisfaction, especially for those of us that play role-playing games.
Yeah,
taking us. Yes, don't remove.
And so, were you disappointed that Anthem didn't have that kind of setup?
Yes, I was. I was very disappointed.
Yeah,
I was very disappointed by where with that, because I mean, even in Dragon Age 4, the scenes were kind of cut. That they had, they cut them off at a certain point, but it was like, I kind of wanted them go ahead and work the whole thing out.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of where we are. So, but I don't know why.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Why do we have to do that with games, but we aren't doing that with movies? That's what I don't get. I don't get. Well, when I say not with movies, I don't mean they aren't doing so. They are doing certain things in movies, but you don't see them taking out sex scenes out of movies.
No. Well, I do think that part of there's still, I think there's still an issue with gaming over movies and not in an overall thing. It's much easier to go on a shelf and pick up a game that's rated M and buy it because, nobody's watching you for that, than it is to get into a movie that's rated R that's got a sex scene in it. Now, with the advent of home movies, if you're not careful and you're not using your parental guidance correctly, then, you sneak it at home. I used to sneak. I used to sneak some out of those adult comics. I used to have. Man, I tell you what, I used to sneak Richard Pryor like you wouldn't believe, and listen to that when I was younger.
Eddie Murphy Raw.
Yeah. Well, by the time Eddie Murphy Raw came out, I was old enough to watch it, but. Richard Pryor was way before that, and I'm downstairs sneaking my tape deck, But I think that the difference is that it's still easier to buy a game than it is to get into a movie, and I think that might have something to do with it.
And there are more kids that are openly playing mature video games. I mean, they are. openly playing them and buying them. So
Sometimes the parents are not paying attention.
yeah,
Well, there is
yeah.
It's
that.
easier to buy them online than if you're not going into GameStop where they're going to say, nope, can't buy this game.
Right.
But online, you can.
Yep, that's
So,
true. That's true.
oh, and I want to bring up that picture you have of Samus Metroid, right? I was thinking back when me and my brother, of course, we played Metroid back in the day, and when she takes off the helmet, right? And when you get to the end, and I didn't realize it when my brother said, "That's a girl." I said, "What? No, that's a guy with just long hair." And so I was surprised. And then no, he said, "That's a girl." And I guess, I don't know where we read it, but somewhere that it confirmed it. But, I was just really surprised. Like, it was a shock. It's being, because like you said, we grew up where games were always more about the men saving the girl. And here was this game that, was a hero that was a female. So it was a surprise back then, But nowadays, you won't be surprised like that. It's becoming more the norm now. So, which is good because I have 2 daughters. I want them to grow up with respect and a little bit more equality in the workplace and in gaming too. So.
Yeah, I'm all for that. I mean, as long as, again, for me, it's about force.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it to. God, I hate to say this. I'm gonna get myself in trouble. Don't do it. Don't do it because you want to be woke. Do it because it fits what you're doing, because it fits the narrative of the game. That's why I brought up Horizon Zero Dawn. Could Aloy have been a guy character? Sure. It's not like God of War. Kratos can't be a female character. Kratos is Kratos. But Horizon Zero Dawn, and I didn't look at Horizon Zero Dawn and go, well, I'm gonna decide to play this, based on whether the main character was a male or female. I played it because the game is good. I platinumed it because the game is good, and it just so happened that the main character is Aloy, and that's what I want. That's what I think I want to see. I want to see strong female characters in games because that is just part of the game.
Yeah, they're written well. They're created.
Right. Right, and it just so like it's okay. Oh, and by the way, that's the same thing with male characters. Like yeah, if you have a series, so another one that I thought was perfectly done, and not just perfectly done, but the fact that they were able to play off of was the and I forget the surname of it. Get ready, Jeff. Uncharted. What was the Uncharted spinoff with Nadine and what was the name of that? Hold on. I'm gonna get it before. I don't know if I'll get it before Jeff.
And I would like to play that. I heard that one was good.
Lost Legacy. The Lost Legacy.
Awesome.
And the game was completely designed around Chloe and Nadine, right? They were the main characters. In Uncharted 4, like, I loved Nadine. Like, when she came in, like, my favorite scene from Uncharted 4, because I'm also a big action movie guy. My favorite scene in Uncharted 4 was when she caught Nadine. Yeah, when Nadine caught Nathan looking around in that library.
Yeah,
she came in.
She whooped his ass.
And she took her shoes off, and then she proceeded to whip his ass.
Yeah,
and whipped his ass through the whole movie, like he was he was Chris Pine, Captain Kirk. and she was an attractive character in that game, no doubt. But she was, they wrote her so well that she became. It was like she was a great movie villain, And then they spun this game off, and it features her and Chloe. And I got a chance to play a little bit. I haven't played a lot of it, and it's on my list. It's on my backlog list. I know it's 2 years old. I promise I'll get to it.
Yeah, I haven't played it either. So
Yeah.
But it you know, they took what she does and what Chloe does well, and they turned it into a great story. That's a total spin-off of Uncharted, and it works on its own. That's what I want. That is what I want to see more of. You know, those characters. That's what I'm hoping to. That's what I'm hoping we can get sort of kind of moved over to, as opposed to I have to put a female, or I have to put a male, or I have to put, you know, this kind of gamer character into the gamer so that I can check a box, so people will be, you know, so people won't be mad at me and start picketing my office because, you know, that's my thing. And you can tell me if I'm off. I mean, it's totally, you know.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily think you're off in that. I don't. Because I get what you're saying. Because I myself, you know, I think that sometimes, you know, things are done. I mean, there can be some type of trying to appease people. But at the same time, when they do that, I ask myself, how many times have I, let's say, sat in a movie theater and I've seen a particular character, and I've asked myself, why couldn't this character or this character in this movie look like me? I have asked those kind of questions. Now, mind you, there has been a progression where people look like me. Where, you know, when I say me, I'm talking about being a woman, being a woman of color, of just, you know, just and being able to identify. When I started seeing movies like, I think there was a movie, Obsession, with Beyonce and Idris Elba, I believe, and I was going, yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about, because I love those type of like suspenseful dramas. But when they start casting other people, when I say other people that look like me, I'm like, okay, but the color of their skin didn't matter in that movie. They could have been in any race. They just happened to be African American. And so that's where when I say I like seeing the industry going where they can be whatever color. But, you know, this thing that we're in now, I'm not quite sure how I feel about this. Just, you know, you just putting people in certain predicaments or roles just to say I did it. I don't know. I guess I need to kind of let that one sit in just a little bit. But I'm okay with casting people just because, first of all, anybody can play this particular role. But this person just happens to be this particular race. I don't have a problem with that. But I don't want you cherry picking certain things for just appeasing. That's where I kind of like, you know, I'm not so sure about that. So, you know.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at. And you know, I'm happy to see, you know, as long as it's, you know, as long as you're doing it and it fits, you know, and it can. There are plenty of, you know, there's plenty of games where a character is not defined as has to be. You know? Right.
Especially when you take characters that we've already known. See, this movement where this character is this particular way from a character from like 20, 30 years ago. Okay, well, this character is now this. I'm like, you know what? Why can't you just create a new character somewhere and make them whatever you want to be? Like this going back kind of thing. That's where I think we kind of, like, what are we doing with this? You know, I just think we don't have to do it this way. And I don't think that's what most people are asking for. I don't. and I think I'm speaking generic, and I hope people aren't trying to read between the lines, but you have to be careful because I don't want to offend people. I'm trying not to because I get things, and I pride myself in being very understanding of everybody's causes or whatever, but I just try to think rational in certain things, and some things are reasonable, and then there are things that just aren't. It just does not make sense to do at all, and we just have to kind of know when to do and when not to.
Right.
If that makes sense.
No, that's you're saying you're saying what I'm, I guess, trying to say without, I'm cognizant these days. I've been on Twitter. I understand. I'm cognizant of trying to, to not
I get it.
I
get it.
It's hard.
I get it.
Because even if you have the best of intentions, people don't care sometimes about that. They care about what they can what they can be offended about, and that makes it very difficult to even talk about things like this. Which is why I knew having you here tonight would be the great time to discuss this, because I know you well enough, and I know what Classy Gamer Gals is well enough to know that that we can discuss this and we can bring it to the forefront. And look, everybody else this week talking about you can't smoke in Gears, and I didn't want to do that. I would rather have, like I said, the fact that we have this opportunity to bring something out that I don't think nobody else is talking about. I don't think anybody else has even thought to talk about this, because if you say the wrong thing, then you're gonna get dragged on Twitter, and it makes it difficult. But having you here to talk with, it's nice to be able to see it, and to see it from your perspective too, because you do have a wealth of experience, and we've talked about this before. I know you've grown up with gaming, and I know that you've been through a lot of this. So having your perspective is awesome, just quite honestly.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've always, ever since I saw you on the Twitter and the podcast, I've always respected your opinions. You definitely, you bring a true passion and common sense to gaming, and that's what I like. I like what you bring, and I like what you brought with ClassyGamerGals, gals, and you seeing that other people may be inspired from that. And so GWG, I really like what they're doing. I like their opinions. They're all gamers, you can tell. And I respect that. I like listen to them on Saturdays when I'm at work, when I can. So you're seeing that movement out there, and you helped bring that out. And that's what I want for my daughters. I want them to be able to, as they get older. Well, my oldest is 18, but I want her to be able to relate to gamers that she can. She's not going to always see things my way. So, I tell her, I said there are respectable female gamers out there who are doing it right. They're gamers, and they're just, I want you to see that.
That's right.
So I appreciate you. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, I have fun.
Yeah, and I'm glad you caught the subtle hint, because it is 11:28, and I did promise that we were only going to be 90 minutes to 2 hours max, and I'm a man of my word.
Thank you, Mike.
So did you want to? I know you said something about this earlier, though. Did you want to touch on the water thing?
Oh gosh. Wait. You know what? You know what? We can wrap it up with this.
Yes, that
because,
sounds good.
well, this was my thing. First of all, come on, let's be for real. Anybody that's sitting out buttocks in some water, you really think you're gonna buy that water and now that behind is sitting in it? Okay. First of all, if you're gonna do that, that's on you. All right, but it kind of goes back to kind of all that we've talked about tonight. It's the role that women have been placed in. See, if you take out our sexuality in video games, if you take us from double D to a D, the guys go off. Or they're upset about that. Why do you do that? You're defeminizing women or desexualizing them, But then, if the woman goes on Twitch and she uses her tatas to advance herself or for money, she's just doing this for money. How dare you? You're not a real gamer. And that's what I mean, where I say women are in a place where we're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't, and that happens to us. I've had people say to me over the past couple of years, not many, but a few females, offended by my name, ClassyGamerGals. Well, how you gonna be classy and you calling yourself a gamer gal? Because that's what I am. I'm a gal. I'm a woman. I'm a lady. I wanted to represent who I am, and that is just who I am. So it's like no matter how we do it, it's like, and that's my point with her. When I saw that, I thought this was the stupidest thing I thought I would ever see in gaming. No one's really buying bath water. I know that's not happening. But people did. Like there was like $30 a pop.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it did.
But then when I saw like the hate and things that she was getting for it, I was saying to myself, but why y'all hating on the girl though? For real. I'm not saying whether she should do it or not. I'm just saying, how you gonna hate on her for selling bath water? But then y'all over here just calling the girl the ICE agent or the border agent bae. You got her picture because she's on her job post. Somebody takes a picture of her, and I guess she's a nice looking woman. And you guys are going crazy over her. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, it's like you try to. It's sometimes
a double standard.
It's a double standard. Thank you, Fastback. It's a double standard. And that's what I mean. Where we, don't buy no booty bath water. Don't do that. Don't do it.
All I could think of when you said that was Booty Sweat from Tropic Thunder.
Come on.
Yeah.
If you have to tell someone not to do it,
right.
Yeah.
It's because people did it. There's a reason the back of the bottle of shampoo says "Do not drink."
Because but the thing is, she knows that there's an audience. There are going to be people that are going to come into her whatever she's doing, her stream, her Instagram, or whatever, and they're gonna, they're gonna support her. They're gonna give her money for whatever you throw at them. They're gonna take it. But then the first thing you say is, you're looking for attention. And well, you know what? If you didn't give me the attention, I couldn't get the attention, right? Right. That's my position on that. But no, I'm not all for selling, bath booty water. Oh God, never thought
you gotta love the internet, streaming, online, social media. It has created these opportunities for people out there that they can hustle online, and people are falling for it.
Yeah, they will. So. Hey, I don't know if I could come up with something. I don't know. Help me out, Mike and Chris. Y'all gotta help me out. Mamacita gotta come up with something because I gotta get my AC unit fixed. So I need me a little side job.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. Maybe I dipped my foot in Some lotion.
Oh my goodness. Super Cooper say classy gamer bathwater.
No.
She ain't going there.
No, I'm gonna dip my foot in lotion and wrap it in plastic bags. Y'all have my footprint. Some lotion.
Oh god.
Just show a video of yourself playing a game with the controller, with your foot controlling the controller,
classic.
And then you're gonna have people, they're gonna want to buy the controller. So
Yeah.
just make sure you got your toes clean, and you got the right.
Sell your nail clippings.
Make sure you got your nails done and all that before you do it.
Oh, we're done.
Oh, hey,
hold
don't
on.
be like that one picture.
Indie gamer, this is for you, buddy. This is for you. I'm just gonna lay back. And show it all out.
Ooh, let's see.
Yeah.
Don't be
like that.
No, look.
You see that one picture of the guy that showed off his PlayStation VR and whatever, and he has some nasty feet.
Oh my god! Did you guys see this isn't gaming related. Did you see the video of the passenger on the plane changing the TV on the front of the plane with his feet? Oh, ew. Oh, it was nasty.
Not touching that screen.
Oh my goodness, it was horrible.
On the plane.
Man, but this is where it gets. This is where today's gaming. When you bring all these new people in that have never been here before, some of them are weird. Let's just call it as it is. Some of them are a bit off.
Yes.
But then look, she sold out of that water. Which then people bought that water and then they drank it and got sick and had to go to the hospital. I mean, don't drink the shampoo.
So why did you boil it first? You should at least boil it. Didn't your mama tell you boil water, get rid of germs? I mean, come on. Boil it and then drink it. I mean,
I don't even think boiling that water is going to get rid of anything.
But I mean, I saw her. She had a booty in the water. I mean, she might have had clothes on, but I don't know. Like, was that the water that she sold? I mean, come on.
Yes, and people bought it. That's just it. Damn. People bought it.
Don't they realize that when you sit in water? I mean, come on, dirt is gonna come off your body, regardless of how clean you are. Right. Dirt is gonna come off, whether you see it or not.
There is a reason that the silicone gel packets that come in electronics say do not eat, because somebody ate it. Yes, people drank it. It was oh my god. It was, so kids, don't do drugs. That's all I can say.
Oh wow.
Oh my
Too late. Too late.
All right.
Oh
all right.
Man. So with that, we're gonna get ready to get out of here. My lady, my boo.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness, this has been too long.
Yes, it has. It has.
And I'm so happy you were able to come on with us tonight.
I am too. And as rusty as I am, because I promise you, I haven't podcasted, I think, in like over a year now. So I'm kind of rusty on what was happening and all that going on, or whatever. But this was good. This was good. So thank you guys and everybody in the chat for hanging out with us. I appreciate it.
That was good.
Yep.
That was real good. They were getting a little crazy there at the end. Wonder why.
A little bit, but it's okay.
Nah, they were behaving.
We good?
Yeah.
We good.
Nah, they were being respectful. They're just being silly.
Oh, okay. I wish I could have seen it. Would it show on the repeat?
Oh yeah.
Replay? I'll be able to see it. Okay, I'll go and see
it. And actually,
it.
it'll shoot like. That's the cool thing about Twitch, which is what we're on. Is you'll see the chat in real time. So as you're watching it back.
All right. Well, next time I have to make sure I have that on my phone. You notice I said next time, so I can see the chat on my phone.
Well, so as always, now you've always known this. You are always open invitation. You don't even have to. You don't even have to ask. You just say, "Hey, Mike." Well, just say, "Hey, Mike, you got a room for me tonight?" And there's not even a question. So anytime you want to come on, anytime. So You are.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yes.
And tell everybody where they can find you.
Well, you can find me.
I don't know if I want to do that.
Okay, so
We're talking about your Twitch tag. Don't give it your real address. Unless you want to buy her an AC unit.
Don't
then,
die. Right. Right. If you can afford an AC unit, don't dox yourself.
Well, you know what? I'm of course I'm ClassyGamerGals on Twitter, but on Xbox I'm Mamacita 925 and PSN the same Mamacita 925 on Xbox, Twitter, and PlayStation and Nintendo. So although I'm not doing social media as much now, I am gaming. So anybody want to hit me up and we can run something or play something. I love to co-op. I love teaming up and co-op. And I'm not real big on PvP, but I will play it. I don't shy away from it. I will go in and I will play PvP.
Yeah, I'm PvE myself. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Maybe the Gears 5 arcade might be fun.
Yeah.
We can get down with
Let's
that.
try to run that this weekend.
That is funny. Yeah, don't dox yourself. Remember the time, the one time we were doing a podcast on Classy Gamer Gals, and you accidentally gave out the Hangout link instead of the YouTube link, and we're in there, and all of a sudden, like all these people started coming into the like, hey, is this the place for the? And we're like, how did you get in here?
Yes, that was the second time I was streaming. Yes, I remember.
I came back and I said, you need to take that tweet down.
You told me you posted the Hangout link. I was like, what? And I saw all these different people coming into the podcast.
Mike retweeted that. You know he did.
No, I was trying to protect my lady.
Funny. Like, that was so funny. Me and my mishaps in the beginning. Okay. Oh my gosh, that was so funny.
Oh my god. But as I said though, you pioneered the way for a lot of what I see today. And no, I'm not throwing shade at anybody because there's some excellent.
There are some great
GWG, like Chris said to me, I love watching them on Saturdays, and I want to have them. I'd love to have them come on one day and talk to us too.
But I've been on their podcast a couple of times. They're really good, and I used to podcast them and with some of them in a previous podcast as well. So
and they are knowledgeable.
Yes.
Man, they are good.
Yes, gamers. They have a good camaraderie.
They do. They do. And Indie Gamer said he just followed you on Twitter, so
great, wonderful.
But I always, to me, you got it started. You showed the way for a lot of these ladies to get on and podcast and feel like they can be. God, I hate using these words.
And be heard
and be safe.
Have a voice.
And and have a voice.
As a gamer.
As a gamer.
Yes, as a gamer.
As a gamer. And accepted as a gamer. So.
All right.
So anyway, once again, thank you guys. Thank you, chat room. You guys, as always, totally lit. It's awesome. And we will be back next Thursday, I think. Yeah, next Thursday. Hopefully Peter will be back. He had to work tonight, but he popped in the chat room for a minute. And Chris, as always, my brother.
It was good.
Yep. Next week we'll be talking years.
I was getting. It's funny every Thursday. After work, and then I'll eat dinner, and then I get a little sleepy, and then it's like, all right, let me get on, kind of come over here. But then once we get going, I'm wide awake.
Yep. So. Yep. And my wife, man, she's like, it's 9:00. Are you going downstairs? So she loves it. But we'll be on next week. We'll be talking the Gears Tech Test. I'm going to talk about a game that I beta tested called Bless Unleashed. And hopefully we'll get some more news. And we'll be able to talk about some news and stuff. So until then, Mamacita, Chris, everybody, have a wonderful week. Make it a gaming weekend. And we'll see you all next week. Play on, gamers.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Just game.
It's so professional. They can't hear me, can they?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see what's his name in chat? No.